What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the show where I go over the comic books coming out on Wednesday, let you know what they're all about, and whether there's something you should talk to your shop about, so make sure you subscribe to get one of these every single Monday. The first book that I want to talk about is Astonishing XMen number 6, written by Charles Soule, and this is kind of finalizing this battle between the essence of Charles Xavier and the Shadow King. And this is a war inside this limbo kind of area that has kind of bled out into the world around it. It involves a team of Psylocke, Bishop, Old Man Logan, Rogue, Gambit, Mystique, Phantom X. There's all these different kind of players that are inside of this Astonishing X-Men title, and overall it's been a lot of fun up to this point. It's going to lead into the new story arc, which is starting after this issue, so this is going to be the conclusion, and it's going to bleed into the next one. So it's definitely something that you should check out. Over on DC, we're starting a brand new arc with Deathstroke number 26, and this is after, you know, this kind of villainous society has kidnapped Deathstroke and kind of set him on his path. So what we're going to see is we're going to see an aftermath of his endeavors to kind of turn legit, but not turn legit. Deathstroke's been a really great book. I don't talk about it nearly enough, but overall Christopher Priest has been doing a really good job on it, and for somebody that's so complex a storyteller, and he really fits well with this character of Deathstroke, overall it's definitely one that I should be picking up a lot more, and I kind of shame myself for not. So it's definitely something that you guys should be looking into as well. Over at Image, we have The Fix number 10 coming out, which is by Nick Spencer with art by Steve Lieber, and, you know, say what you will about Nick Spencer's writing when he comes to Marvel, what he did for Captain America, what he did for Sam Wilson, what he did through Secret Empire. Overall, his entertaining book, The Fix, has been nothing but just pure gold. It's just a really fun romp through the corruption of Los Angeles and these police departments. It's just a really odd take on everything that just kind of takes the piss out of everybody. So I'm really a fan of this particular book. It kind of goes on delay every once in a while depending on what kind of workload, you know, Nick Spencer has. So I'm glad to see it coming back. Of course, when we bounce back over to Marvel, we do have a diamond in the rough in terms of Black Bolt. And Black Bolt, number 8, is going to be starting off this new storyline where it's going to be, you know, the return of the Midnight King to Earth. So he's finally out of prison, he's handled all of his other issues that he needs to there, and he's making his way back to Earth so that way he can be with the rest of his Inhumans, you know, the rest of the Inhumanity, I guess you could say. But what it comes down to is that Christian Ward has just been doing a bang-up job on the art. Ahmed has been doing a really good job on the storytelling. It's one of the most underappreciated books probably in Marvel right now, so it's definitely something that you guys should be taking a look at. The trade paperback is coming out as well, so take a look at that one too, but you know, just flip through it, see if it's something that might be intriguing to you. Not a lot of people really follow along with Black Bolt books, and there's some really interesting twists and turns that he's made during this first series, so it's something you guys should be checking out, at least to get an idea of what other people are doing inside the Inhuman universe without the kind of backlash that we got from the TV show and other kind of stuff. They can be interesting characters when they're written well, and in this case, it's written well. And the art, Christian Ward art, phenomenal. But if we're talking about people's distaste for the Inhumans, we're going to have to talk about my distaste for Justice League up until this point in time. I really haven't been a fan of it. I thought that it was kind of like hot garbage, you know, from the beginning. I just didn't really appreciate the way Brian Hitch was telling a story. And, you know, there are things that kind of move along with it. You know, a lot of people really like it, but it's just not something for me. So this week I'm going to be talking about Justice League 34 because Christopher Priest is taking over as the main writer on that book. So it's a fresh take on Justice League that I get the opportunity to kind of like dive back in and be like, is this the book that DC needs for its big superhero family? The Justice League, the penultimate collection of superheroes amongst the DC cosmos. I hope that it's good. Christopher Priest is one of the best writers that DC has on staff right now, so it's definitely something that I would be looking forward from him, and I really can't wait to see what he turns for a story and how he kind of dives into it. It's going to take at least 5 issues from me, so I'm starting on Justice League number 34, and I recommend you guys do too. However, there is a book in Marvel that stepped off on the right foot immediately after a rather tenuous turn, and that was Captain America 695. And now Captain America 696 is coming out, and we get more Mark Waid and Chris Samney. So this kind of collaborative team is taking Captain America back to its roots and the roots of America, or at least the perceived roots of America inside the middle America. We're no longer New York City, we're not talking LA, we're talking about, you know, like Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, you know, those places out there in the flyover states where, you know, the real heartland of America lives. So I'm interested to see what Mark Waid does with this kind of context and how he continues to portray Captain America. If you're looking for, you know, truth, justice, American way, Captain America, this is the place where you're going to find it, and you're going to find it in a little bit more modern context, or at least that's what I think. So I'm really excited to see where he goes with this. Definitely something that I'm recommending for everybody. And then in kind of the opposite of truth, justice, and the American way, we see Superman sitting on the throne of Apokolips in Superman number 36. And this is the battle for Apokolips that's between, you know, the Furies and various factions amongst Apokolips in the absence of Darkseid. Lex Luthor was summoned here by these people that believe that he is the god of prophecy that will rule over Apokolips, and he summons Superman, who's actually maybe the god of prophecy, and then Jonathan's riding in on these demon dogs, and, you know, Lois is part of the female Furies, and there's just this giant bloodbath that's going to happen. It's going to be awesome. So Superman number 36, definitely a recommendation for me. Without even reading it, I don't need to know. It's just going to be a really good conclusion to this story. Superman has never steered me wrong since it launched during DC Rebirth, so I can't help but recommend it to people. Another book that really took me by surprise, but not so much by surprise, is Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange number 382 continues the story of Loki the Sorcerer Supreme. Now that we know that Doctor Strange, or Stephen Strange, has set up a veterinarian clinic, we can see how he makes his way back to being the Sorcerer Supreme. Plus, we get an idea of why he ended up being a veterinarian and why Loki became the Sorcerer Supreme to begin with, and what Loki's really after, because he's going all over hell and high water trying to find an answer to this question. So I'm really excited to see where Donny Cates goes with Doctor Strange, and of course I really enjoyed G.H. Walta's art. It's just a really good setup, so Doctor Strange is something that I'm definitely on board with, and definitely something you should be checking out if you haven't had a chance already. When we bring it back over to DC, we talk about Batman number 36, and Batman number 36 starts the Super Friends arc. So we get to see Clark and Bruce talking about how Bruce is getting married. That's going to be fun. It's just, I can't imagine something more ridiculous, because when we started off DC Rebirth and we, you know, essentially this new Superman, this Superman that had not died, we had no real kind of bonding between Clark Kent from, you know, pre-crisis or post-crisis or whatever kind of amalgamation we have after Superman Reborn right now. You know, the time stream changed and it kind of re-linked Bruce and Clark as friends, and to see, you know, Clark reacting is just like, hey, you just went into a completely restricted area that the UN has agreed not to invade, and, you know, we're not supposed to set foot there. You went in there, and now you're going to tell me that you're marrying a supervillain? And it's just like, well, she's not a supervillain. She's more like a villain or maybe an anti-hero. So I can't wait to see what Tom King writes for an interaction with this. So I'm really interested to see what comes out of, you know, Super Friends, which is going to actually be split in the middle by an origin story of Bruce Wayne retold by Tom King. So this next 5 issues, you know, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 are going to play a pretty big role in the relationships between Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and as well as kind of a perception of the history of Bruce Wayne. So definitely something you need to be on board for. Continuing on the Batman train, we have Batman White Knight number 3 coming out, which is by Sean Gordon Murphy. You know, we're talking about written and in inks, and this has been awesome. I mean, not just the style. I like the story. I like the way that Sean Gordon Murphy's kind of composing this. I like the alternates that we have. You know, last issue we had this giant reveal what Harley Quinn was not actually the real Harley Quinn, and now we're going to explore that a little bit more deeply. And you can actually see that in the variant cover that Sean Gordon Murphy has coming out for this issue. So Batman White Knight, it's kind of hodgy-podgy. You know, it's not necessarily the tightest bit of storytelling. The thing is that not all good stories are tight when they're told. So some of those, you know, really good stories tend to ramble or wander or you know, be a little bit scattered, and then ultimately if they come back together in a meaningful conclusion, that is something fine, and it's looked at as character for the actual story itself. So I'm wondering if this is going to be more of the beginning, you know, kind of a loose, scattered story without a real tight conclusion, or more of the end, where that that scatteredness, that kind of vagary that happens, brings it back together, and it's looked at more as a character kind of moment. So I'm really excited to see where this one goes. Definitely a recommendation from me, and it's been selling out all over the place, so definitely something you need to get early. Now let's dive into brand new number 1s, and we have Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 number 1. So the last series, which is a 6-part limited, which, you know, brought Batman into the world, well, brought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into the world of Batman. Now we get to bring Batman into the New York City of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it looks like we're going to be getting Damian Wayne in there as well. James Tynion wrote the last one, did a really good job on that one. So I'm really excited to see where this one goes. I might have to pick them all up again just because I was so entertained by the first ones, but that's one that you're going to want to check out as far as a new number 1's concerned. Then over at Action Lab, if you know anything about online or YouTube comic booking, you know Jason Inman and you know, Ashley V. Robinson. Jason Inman's been on Collider, he's on a bunch of different shows, and then he's got his own YouTube channel as well, and he does some great stuff. He's on DC All Access. There's all kinds of stuff that Jason's been doing, plus his fiance, I think, at this point in time, Ashley, they both wrote a comic book called Jupiter Jet. So Jupiter Jet #1 debuts from Action Lab. It's in comic book stores. You know, you would have really had to order this a lot earlier in advance, or you can buy it online, but definitely something to take a look at, simply because it's one of our own. You know, it's one of our own getting into that and, you know, publishing their own stuff to try and create something. You know, we're constantly critics inside the YouTube space when it comes to comic books, and to see somebody put their money where their mouth is and, you know, create something is really inspiring. So definitely something that I recommend you guys check out, and to support Jason and Ashley and just everything that they really endeavor to do over there. When we're talking about other new #1s, though, I want to talk about Dynamite Entertainment's Barbarella #1, which is really just a bit of nostalgia for me. All I can remember is like watching as a mid-teenager Barbarella, the movie with Jane Fonda, and it's just a really weird, kooky, action-packed space thriller, comedy, action kind of thing going on. It's all kind of different genres, and it really doesn't take itself too seriously, and hopefully the comic book can kind of portray that as well. So Barbarella comes out, there's a whole bunch of different variant covers, but I really like this cover by Kenneth Rocafort. It's just, I love Rocafort's style, so it really kind of conveys that to me. It's a really good look. And then to finish things off, over at Image, we have Paradiso #1, which is about a gentleman that has something that can kind of bring this entire cityscape to its knees. And I'm not really up on it, but it's really interesting, and Christian Ward did a cover for it, which, man, I'm just really a fan of his art. I know that the interiors aren't going to be done by that, so it's a little bit misleading, but if I can see the inside of it and it looks very similar, it looks like it's going to be intriguing and interesting like I hope it is, I'm really excited to see where this one goes. So definitely something that I'm going to be checking out, and maybe you guys should be checking out too. But those are the books that I'm picking up, or at least I'm thinking about picking up this Wednesday, but I want to know what's on your pull list too, so hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.